Our last speaker for today is Ashley. She is a principal developer advocate at Microsoft, and she's also the artist behind those cute gophers that you may have seen in the Go community. And so today she'll be talking about her unique and inspiring journey to Go. So please help me welcome Ashley.
I can't see any of you. I don't know if this is good for me or bad for me, but it's just light. So this is my journey to Go, which is a little deceptive. I mean, it's sort of, kind of my journey to Go. A little about me. I am a developer advocate at Microsoft, because who isn't right now? I spent most of my life outside of the US, and apparently I come from a long line of ninjas. I didn't know that. My dad worked for NATO, which means that there was always a computer in my house. And not only was there always a computer in my house, my dad was a habitual upgrader. So I used to steal his parts and make my own computers. So I had the best gaming system in the neighborhood, hands down, fight me, I really did. Dune was my thing. But sadly, I was a girl in the 90s, and my parents weren't super progressive, and so my dad was like, computers are hard, honey. You're really good at art. Go draw some shit. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I became a photographer. And that was great. That was great for a really long time. I did that for about 10 years. Lots of babies, lots of pregnant ladies. I'm sure people in here have spent lots of money on photos. Thank you for that. In that experience, I learned that I needed a website. So I built one of those. I learned that I needed a blog, so I built one of those. I learned that in order to get customers, word of mouth wasn't the only thing that I needed. I needed to rank on Google, so I learned SEO. And just like that, I was a consultant. I ended up consulting, doing websites for photographers. I ended up nail salons, hair salons, and then Cisco. Cisco, for some reason, decided that they wanted my help. So I helped with branding, and I helped with website stuff, and I helped with pictures in their data center, which their data centers are pretty rad, I'm not gonna lie. So why did I quit photography, that is? Well, many reasons. Ashton Kutcher, I think, is mostly to blame for prosumer cameras. But also, and here's a bad joke time. What's the difference between an artist and a pizza? A pizza can feed a family of 4, and I could not do that. So with all of these new skills that I acquired being a photographer, I decided technology is the way I'm going to learn to code. I was 32 years old. That is old as fuck. Most of you in here have been coding since you were children. I was not. Also during this journey, especially at Cisco, I found some communities. I found OpenStack and OpenShift, just a couple of small open source communities. And I started attending meetups, and I learned that I really liked tech communities for the most part. And I was quickly asked to start contributing. And I didn't know how I was going to contribute because I didn't know how to code. Turns out open source communities need more than just code. So for OpenStack, I started contributing documentation. And for OpenShift, I started contributing front-end development. But because I love the community so much, I was spending a lot of time at meetups. And I didn't want to be the girl that ordered pizza. So I wanted to make more meaningful contributions, and that meant I needed to really learn a language. Front-end development was great, but it felt like it was a girl thing. You're a girl, so you have to be a front-end developer. That's just what you have to do, and I didn't want to do that. But I didn't know how. I was 32 years old. I was old. Picking up a tech manual without a CS degree was daunting. I didn't understand any of those words. I was going to have to Google those words and then Google the words I just Googled. It was a fucking nightmare. So I made a decision. I decided I was going to go to a boot camp. Now, if any of you have been to a boot camp, I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to bag real hard on boot camps. You spend about $20,000, and they say that they're going to teach you a lot of things in 12 weeks. In 12 weeks, you are going to learn the following things. I'm not going to read through this list. I'll stop on each slide. It's incredible. You spend 1 week on each of these activities. That's a lot of shit to learn in a week. By week 4, I basically wanted to kill myself because I was still on week 1. Week 12, launching your career. This was the best part. Launching your career on week 12. That was insanity. I blogged about this experience. It was awful. Terrible. Don't recommend it. But just like that, after 12 weeks, you're a developer. And to prove it, you're going to stack of business cards that say software engineer. And they say, you have imposter syndrome because you're saying that you're not a software engineer, Ashley. I say, I just have a sense of reality. I was not an engineer, and I knew that. But I also knew that I could learn on my own because during those 12 weeks, I spent a lot of time learning on my own. So my mission was pretty clear. I wanted to create a set of resources, free resources that anyone could access, just curated lists. It took me months. It's forever long. If you go to my GitHub page, it's on the first page. There's some paid stuff in there now, but it's cheap and it's worth it. If it's in there, I think it's worth it. If you have other free resources, submit a pull request. I'll merge it. It'll be great. But I also understand that some people go to boot camps because they feel like they need a classroom setting. They don't trust themselves to learn on their own. So I also make it a point to pair senior developers with junior developers. And I recommend an article by Laura Hagen about mentorship versus sponsorship. They're two different things. If you're a senior developer and you have knowledge to share, share it. Please and thank you. Now, getting to Go. I am an accidental gopher, and somebody said that I should explain what a gopher is. A gopher is somebody that writes Golang. How many in here write Golang? Sweet, I didn't need this slide at all. So, Steve Francey is to blame. Many of you in the Docker and Go community probably know Steve Francia. Steve Francia is my best friend, but also a pain in my ass. In 2014, I met him at OzCon, and I haven't gotten rid of him since. In 2015, he said, Ashley, I want you to teach a Go workshop with me. And I said, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, Steve. I haven't even written Hello World. Why would I do that? And so his pitch was that he couldn't relate to the brand new developer. He had been doing this for far too long, that if my big dumb brain could get it, that anyone could get it, and that we should write it together. And he was right. It was decently rated, 4 stars at OzCon. I'm not mad at that. I'm pretty proud of that. Since then, we have done this talk 5 times in 3 countries. And we've been asked to do it again and again. And now I know how to write Go because I can't stop giving this workshop. But the point is that nobody succeeds alone, especially if you're new to this industry, if you're a PM that just wants to learn how to code, if you're transitioning careers, you don't succeed alone. You can read all the books, but you need help. I just want to give a shout out to some of the people that help me actively on a daily basis, who answer my questions and ask some really dumb questions. They say there's no such thing as a dumb question, but I do. I ask dumb questions. And they never laugh at me, so follow these people on Twitter. They are amazing. They are givers. They are great. Also, just say yes. I was extremely uncomfortable giving this workshop with Steve. Nobody wants to look like a fool. Nobody wants to admit the things that they don't know. So they just go through life pretending that they know. Just say yes. However, let me caveat, I'm now close to burnout, so know your limits. Remember that there is a time to say no. Contributing and eliminating excuses. These are all my personal excuses, but I'm sure that some of you in the audience have had them as well. I'm not a very good programmer. This is my top excuse. I don't think I'm a very good programmer. However, I can just whip shit up and then I surprise myself. It's pretty cool sometimes. I don't have a lot of time. Nobody has a lot of time. We all have full-time jobs, but this is open source. Make time. Sorry. We love you. Please contribute. I don't know which project to work on. This is the one that I hear the most, and I'll explain. So there's a myth in open source communities. There's a myth that you have to be a wizard programmer to contribute, especially for newbies. It's really damaging. Certainly there are those within open source communities that are rock stars and that are actually geniuses, but most of us are just getting shit done. Sometimes we're writing code, sometimes we're not. To make a great open source project, it requires a lot of perspiration. Not all of it's fun. And not all of it gets you the recognition that maybe you want or think you deserve. 3 things. It takes people of all skill levels. Genius programmers can't relate to people like me who need to Google word after word after word. We need different perspectives. If there's only one view of the world, it's super boring. A small contribution is better than no contribution. I thought it was really boring when I was editing grammar in docs. I was like, this is stupid. Why am I even doing this? It's necessary. There are Twitter wars about they there, you know, like, this is important. When you don't know what project to work on, the best project to work on is the one that you're already using. So, where to start? Start with what you're good at right now. Turns out developers are not so great at design work sometimes. It's just a thing. And I was decent at it. I make gophers. I make lots and lots of gophers. You can find them on GitHub. You can print them. They're all open source. Have them. Use them for whatever you want. Please don't sell them on Amazon. I will find you. I will hunt you down. I also made Gopherize Me. Part of this was due to laziness because I didn't want to make any more avatars for people. But as it turns out, it was something that the community obviously needed because People are using the API, people are making cakes, people are making mugs, and Influx is using it as their new hire orientation yearbook photo. Like, this thing is everywhere. Obviously, we tapped into a community need. I thought it was dumb, but also adorable. But turns out I know nothing. Contribution is a contribution. Your small contributions might have more impact than you expect. To me, 759 stars is a big deal. It's a really big deal. It's flattering to me. I didn't think that a repo of photos would have 759 stars, but it does. So everything in open source involves other people. You're looking to join a team. That means understanding the community. Walking into a project and saying, this is how I want things to be, is probably not the right thing to do. The chances of that attitude being embraced are pretty small. Listening is the best way you're going to know what a project needs. So how do you listen? Here are some ways that you can listen. Join a mailing list. For many projects, this is their main conduit of communication. You're going to hear about the development. You're going to hear about new features coming out. Follow a blog. Most of your heroes, in fact, have blogs that they update regularly, or maybe semi-regularly. Who cares? Read their blog. IRC and Reddit. This is where most of you probably talk. If you're new, just go lurk. See what people are talking about. See what they're bitching about, and see if maybe you can fix it. Like I said, most of what happens is not glamorous. Working with tickets is not glamorous. Nobody wants to do it, but it's necessary. When you're new and you're trying to make an impact, diagnose a bug, close a bug fix. Sometimes those things just sit there for years. It's more impactful than you think. Again, working with code, all experience levels. I wanted to combine this slide and the last slide so it didn't seem redundant, but we're going to go through it again because I think it's important. So fix a bug, write a test, test, please more tests. How-tos. There cannot be too many how-to examples, and we'll go through that on the next slide when I talk about docs. Docs are the first thing that people look at. When you're looking at a new tool or a new project, the first place that you go to are the docs. If the docs suck, I'm like, next. So have great docs. Documentation is typically the most overlooked part of the project. And it's also probably written from the point of view of the people that are most familiar with the project, which means that it can be sometimes hard to understand for somebody who's coming in and has never used it. So if you're using the product and you're confused, ask a question, document it, update the docs. Simple. Nobody wants to do it. Work with the community. Open source is only partly about code. Community makes open source work. And here are some ways, just some simple ways that you can build it up. Answer a question. If you're on Stack Overflow, I have a love-hate relationship with Stack Overflow, whatever. Answer a question. If you're in Google Groups, answer a question. Write a blog post. If you come across a bug or if you have used this project in whatever small or big way, blog about it so that people can learn from you. Improve a website. Like I said, most programmers don't really have design talent, and that's fine. I sometimes don't have programming talent. Pay it forward. Give more than you receive. If you are using open source and you are not contributing back, shame on you, sorry. Please contribute back. This slide to me is really hypocritical because I have a really hard time accepting help when it's offered, but when I do, I never regret it. Don't be too proud to accept help when it's offered. And also, it's okay to fail. Failure is part of learning. It's okay. If somebody says they don't fail, they're liars. And this is my most tweetable slide. I'm going to see how much time I have. 15, I'm still 15 minutes. Cool. My most tweetable slide. So make sure you get me at a good angle if you do. We are all a community of coders, but if all we do is code, we've lost the community. That's super, super true. Coding is a big part, obviously, but there are lots of mundane things that need to be done to make any open source project great. So do those things. Those things add up, and eventually you will get the recognition for that. Thank you. I am Ashley McNamara. You may ask me questions. I feel like you might not have any, but if you do, please use the mic. They have asked me to tell you to please use the mic. And you have 13 minutes back at the end of your day. Anybody? If you don't, you can just get up and leave. I'm not going to be offended, I swear. Alice.
Gonna ruin your life. Have you contributed to any other open source projects besides Go, and what led you to those other projects, if you did?
Yes. So OpenStack and OpenShift were the other two, and then Go. I normally only contribute to the projects that I am currently using, and I would love to contribute to more, but I am not using more. Anyone? You're free. You're free if you would like to go. Cool, we're good.